Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Sorry we haven't been posting much lately. It's been absolutely freezing cold here, as I'm sure much of the rest of the country is that way. I know Tennessee, North Alabama, Kentucky's been getting hammered with snow. It actually reached down and touched us some a few days ago. So we've just been kind of bunkered down inside. Haven't been doing much. TJ's pretty stagnant right now, just waiting to do some more wheeling with the thing. Not too much going on with it. I did want to come at you with a video real quick on the CJ-7. I've done one a long time ago, but it was just like a little 3-minute blurb on when we put the Cooper STT Pro mud grips on here. So I want to do a little walk around, explain the history behind this thing. It's such a clean vehicle that I don't really show much of it. I just kind of pull it out on Sunday, drive it to the store, drive the wife and the dogs around in it, things like that. So I want to do a little walk around on it, but first I did want to mention the Everyday Off-Road TJ Facebook group page. If you are one that has a question, wants to keep up with what we're doing, that is the place to do it. The page is booming. We started it around 5 months ago, 6 months ago now maybe, and we're almost at 6,000 members. Actually may hit that today. So that thing's booming. Everybody's talking about their TJs, sharing pictures, videos in the snow. Really good platform so far, so glad we started it. Go on Facebook, type in Everyday Off-Road TJ, request to join. It'll send me some questions. Well, actually, you will answer some questions. I will approve you, assuming you actually have a TJ and you're not a robot. I will approve you to get in the group, and then you can chat with us, see what we're up to, keep up with our wheeling schedule, things like that. So without any further ado, we'll hop into the video. So this is my all original 1984 CJ-7 Renegade. It has the 4.2 liter inline six, which is the daddy motor to the 4.0 that is in the TJs. Almost as bulletproof. I wouldn't say this one had quite as many issues ironed out as the 4 liters did. These you do typically have to rebuild at a certain mileage. 4.0s, seems like if you take care of them, you can almost run them forever. So 4.2 liter inline six, chugs along just like the TJ does. It's not a lightning bolt, but it gets the job done. Transmission wise, we've got a T5 5-speed manual. T5 is just what was in these later model CJs. I believe it replaced maybe the 176, or there's so many numbers of them I can't really remember. But T5 5-speed manual. I wouldn't want this in an auto, it just doesn't seem right. And you know, we on this channel anyway are fans of manual transmissions. So inline six with a 5-speed manual. It does have the Dana 300 case. Here's your 4-wheel drive selector over there next to the shift knob. 4 high, 4 low, neutral, 2 high, standard gearbox. I'm not too sure what the ratio is in those boxes. It's probably in the 2s, similar to a stock 231 on a TJ. This thing doesn't have quite the low end that the TJ has, but it also has 354 gears in the axles. So this wasn't geared really to rock crawl. 354s were supposed to be geared well for the highway. So this thing will stall. You got to know how to drive a manual in this for sure. It's not the super easiest thing to drive, but once you learn where the sweet spot and the clutch is and all that, it's really not that bad. I let the wife put around in it. She's not really comfortable going on the highway, but just in a parking lot, even she can drive it. So not too bad there. So like I said, Dana 300 case, got the inline six, 4.2 liter and the T5 5-speed manual. I inherited this Jeep. I did not buy the Jeep like the TJ. This Jeep has been in my family since the late 80s. My grandfather bought it from, I believe, the original owner in, I think, 87 or 88. It wasn't too long past 84 when it was made. And I have the bill of sale handwritten by him from the late 80s, which is even cooler. I believe this thing had like 19 or 20,000 miles on it when he got it. So basically he got a brand new CJ-7 and I think paid like $5 grand for the thing, which I have no idea what that is in today's money, but seems like nothing to me. So that's where it comes from. I've had it ever since my grandparents passed several years back. They were good enough to leave it to me, and it was honestly not in the best of shape. The body has always been straight on the thing. It's been kept indoors pretty much all of its life. This is original paint. This thing has not been restored. This thing has not been touched outside of anybody in our family, other than when we were teenagers, we were driving it and stuff would go out, like the water pump went out, and things that back then we didn't really know how to repair, so we would run it to the shop real quick and have things like that repaired. But as far as anything restoration wise, it's untouched. So this paint, I don't know how well the camera is going to show it. Obviously I have waxed it. I take good care of it. I wash it. When it sits and gets dusty after not being used for a while, I'll pull it out and use the chemical guys quick detailer on it and then give it a quick wax, keep it wiped down. But the paint from the 80s, these original stripes, this is almost unheard of to not be a restoration. Really just looking at a time capsule right here. Like I said, it has not been touched. And it's not flawless like a full resto would be. He got behind, or somebody got behind some sort of semi truck or somebody hauling stone or something like that and shipped the grill in quite a few places. I need to get a touch-up pen that matches this paint, get that touched up. This fender had been hit, so somewhere right in here you can kind of see a Bondo line, but all they did is pull it out, Bondo the seam, and then paint back over it. Other than the front of that fender, everything on the body is truly original. As far as running condition, mechanically, like I said, when I got the thing, it was definitely not perfect. You had to really try to get it to start and run right, most of which was due to sitting for so long. Obviously, this is carbureted, so no fuel injection plus sitting is not good because everything gums up. The float will stick in the carb and your gas will go bad, and just no bueno for anything to sit, especially carbureted vehicles. So I guess I'll throw the hood up and kind of show the minimal work that's been done in here. Here's what the underside of a CJ-7 looks like with the inline 6. The only thing that really sticks out is the Weber. This right here is your carburetor. This is just the air intake. So we did a Weber 3236 carb on it right when we inherited it. Wasn't running good, couldn't keep it idling. Tried pulling the jets out of the OEM carburetor and cleaning everything out and put it back together. Still wasn't running right. So I just went with a Weber, American made, good carburetor. Ever since then, it's been a lot better. Still hadn't been perfect. I recently installed an inline fuel pressure regulator just from O'Reilly's. Turns out the Weber works well with less fuel pressure than the stock pump puts out. I believe the stock pump puts out like 7 to 9 PSI, and the Weber, according to the forums, likes the 3, 4, 5 range. So we got a fuel pressure regulator. I'm running it on 4. Seems to be doing a lot better. It'll sit there and idle fine. Has good power. I was running way too rich with the Weber and no regulator, so that was leading to some issues. Other things we've done, obviously a battery. We did a solenoid, distributor cap, new plugs. I can't for the life of me remember what that little canister is back there, but it's new. New fuel filter. I put a OE replacement fuel pump on it. It has had a valve cover done, valve cover gasket done, not by me, I believe. The family did that before I had it. And that's probably about it in here. I think Dad and I, right when I got it, put a exhaust manifold on because the other one was cracked. But overall, it's pretty stock. No performance upgrades, I'd say. I guess you could call the Weber a little bit of a performance upgrade because it's supposed to boost the horsepower a little bit. These things are so slow anyway that I'm not worried about performance. I just want it to run well. So everything that we've done in here is just to keep it running as it should. So there's your internals under the hood. As far as the suspension goes, that's the next thing I'll hit on. We're sitting on 33 1250 Cooper STT Pro mud grips. Look really good on here. I always wanted a set of the Coopers. As you guys probably know, I'm a Nitto fan at heart. But I wanted to try the STT Pros, and what better to try it on than this, because those white letters tell me that doesn't set the thing off. Just looks so classic. It ties in with the Jeep. Little white logo that says Jeep there next to the door. And I got a good deal on them online, so we went with the STT Pros. They look great on here. Hard for me to really critique anything because it doesn't get driven much. So far, so good with them. Looks like the wear is starting to wear even. It's got the original steel wheels, 15-inch steel wheels, I believe a 15x8. Come up here, you can actually see the locking hub Jeep 4x, and then 2. You come around somewhere, it's worn off. The other side says 4. So cool to me, little things like that. Renegade was just a package. This one had air. Obviously the appearance package, and to be honest with you, I'm not sure much what else came with a Renegade package, kind of like the Laredo. Just an appearance thing maybe, I'm not too sure, but sure does look good with the stripes. As far as the suspension, it's sitting on a 2.5-inch rough country spring kit. All it is on these old things is 4 sets of leaf springs they send you, and that's pretty much it. I went ahead and put shocks on here. It's just the rough country N2s. Good little kit. Rides a little stiff. I think it's more due to the polyurethane bushings in the end of the springs versus OEM used rubber. I don't think the springs are that stiff. Anyway, so it's a 2.5-inch suspension kit. When I got it, the front was sagging a good bit, so I at least wanted to replace the OE springs with some OE style and height springs. But I did want to fit 33s on here. It was always a dream of mine to have 33s. So in order to fit that, I had to do a little 2-inch boost, 2.5 to be exact. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I wasn't super happy with the way the Jeep was sitting. It had a little bit of rake going on, as in the back sat a little higher than the front once I got done with that kit. So I did put I think a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch, it's not much. I put a larger shackle up on the front to level the thing out. I believe it was like a 3/4 inch. So really this thing is like 3.5 inches in the front, and then your 2.5 inch in the rear. That's all it took to fit the 33s. They look great. I don't like a lot of room left in the wheel well, and these 33s certainly fill up the wheel well, so it's exactly the look I wanted. Other than that, all we have done exterior wise, like I said, the body is all stock, nothing done. I just got a new top for it. It had a blue old best top that had been on it since like the 90s, and we ditched that. The doors were so nasty you couldn't see out of them. The top was torn and faded, so we put a best top on here. It's the super top and the black denim, got the matching doors. So now we can ride around when it's 20, 30 degrees outside like it is today and still be comfortable. Great stuff like always from Best Top. Finally, just put new taillights on here. These are just Quadratec taillights. I messed around and somehow cracked the passenger side. It was just old brittle plastic. I hit it with something in the garage while the Jeep was parked, cracked the housing. So I picked up a set of these off Quadratec, just OEM looking lights. Look good on here. No fancy rear bumper or anything. Stock tailgate. We got the back window out because we had the dogs in here earlier. Everything in here pretty much stock. Nothing crazy. These interiors look cool enough. The old square dash, the inset gauges, everything in the center right there. Don't need to do much to the interiors. Like I said, all this paint is original. If you pull this carpet up, there is no rust. I know we were in here earlier, but here's another view of the cabin. Stock steering wheel, stock pedals, probably not stock carpet. I assume they put new carpet in at some point. Stock seats. I've got a cover for this one. Driver's seat is a little torn. Passenger seat has barely ever been sat in, it seems like. Stock headlights, stock shifters, stock gauges, everything stock. So, to summarize, this is my 84 Renegade CJ-7. It's got a 2.5-inch spring, 33 1250 Cooper STT Pros, best top, super top, all original body, all original drivetrain, everything all original. Slight work done to the motor only to keep it running well, aka carburetor work. One final thing I mentioned is it's got the wide track axles on it. Dad's got an 82 CJ-5. It's got the same front and rear end, but back then for the CJs, they made a narrow track and a wide track. His is a narrow, and boy, it's narrow. It makes this look super wide. Just different priorities back then, I guess. No, not everybody wanted to be super wide like they do today, but it's got a narrow track 30 up front. Classic Dana 30. That just shows you how long these have been around. And then your main difference axle wise back here is you've got the AMC 20 with a nice round diff cover. Nice and easy to tell what's an AMC 20. It's about the only pure circle diff you've ever seen. Leafs all the way around, drum brakes in the back, disc in the front. All right, guys, that wraps us up for this one. Thanks for watching the CJ video. We'll be back to posting plenty of TJ content once the weather gets a little warmer. We've got a ride planned for February 3. We're going to Stony. It's actually a group ride, subscriber ride. So if you're interested in attending, let me know. 35s and up. It's my only requirement. That and recovery gear and some common sense. But again, thanks for watching the CJ video. This thing's really cool. Anytime I do anything different to it, I'll start posting it on here if you guys are interested in that. But other than that, hope y'all have a great week. See y'all later. Thanks for watching Everyday Off-Road.